YouTube family. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. It's your man Big D, and I'm back with another one. I couldn't sleep, so I said, well, you know what? I'm retired. I can't sleep. Why not make a video, right? So that's what I decided to do. But before I go on what I want to call this a cautionary tale, before I want to kind of paint a picture, before I go in, I want to thank all of you that have taken the time to go over to my son's channel, Illuminated D, to consume that content and just to stop by and show him some love. That is something that's very important to my son and I, because I know he knows that there are many other things that you could be doing. And I hope that in some sort, if nothing more, going over to his channel, it gives you it plants a seed, and maybe, who knows, where you may go. This one is for the ladies. So ladies, let me paint a picture for you. There's a older gentleman in his 50s, very successful, educated. And he has been in a dating situation with a younger woman, not that much younger than him, but like 40s, what have you. And this particular woman is a professional. She works in a dynamic career field, and she makes in the high six figures. So the older gentleman that I had initially spoke of, as I said, he is he's in a position where he can protect and provide for this sister that is, I want to call Mrs. Professional. So they've been in a situationship, for quite some time. I mean, a long time. We talking about a long time. So they've been doing this for a minute. And one day, the gentleman went to Mrs. Professional and said, hey, Mrs. Professional, why don't you just move in with me? I will take care of everything. You don't have to contribute anything to the household. All you need to do is not subtract from my happiness. All you will have to do is just be fit, feminine, and submissive. These were the only requirements that this older gentleman had of this young lady, Mrs. Professional. Well, when there came a time when the older gentleman went to Mrs. Professional and he posed this, hey, why don't you move in with me and I'll take care of everything. I'll take care of everything. And all I expect for you is to stay fit, feminine, and submissive, and just don't subtract from my happiness. So, there were concerns and issues because Mrs. Professional is a homeowner. And obviously, she immediately thought that, the older gentleman wanted her to potentially sell her house and move in with him. And if something was to go awry, if she sold her house and moved in with the older gentleman, if something was to go astray, she would have nowhere to go. So that was a concern of hers. And the older gentleman, he agreed that was a valid concern. So the older gentleman then said, well, hey, Mrs. Professional, why not keep your house, rent it out, make a profit, and you come up under my covering and we can start creating generational wealth. You would never guess what Mrs. Professional response was. Well, you got too many stipulations. It's too many stipulations. And again, the older gentleman said, well, what stipulations have I spoken of that you don't want to adhere to? Well, honestly, Mrs. Professional did not have a valid explanation other than she really couldn't clarify what she meant about stipulations and or how she maybe misinterpreted the only things that would be required of her, which is being fit, feminine, and submissive. And yes, and part of that being submissive, that means that yes, you would be expected to cook some meals and know how to cook, because I don't think anything is wrong with that. But everything else, I got it. Can you believe that Mrs. Professional would not take the deal? Even though Mrs. Professional could have stacked all her paper on her well over 100,000 a year job, not only could she have rented her house out and flipped the profit and stacked all that paper, but moreover, she bypassed the opportunity to potentially create generational wealth. Now, ladies, I ask you, why do you think that is? Now, I know most of you will have your talking points. Some of you are going to have your rhetoric. Some of you going to say, well, maybe it's something about him that she just ain't ready to click with like that to move in. I'm sure that a lot of you will come up with all kinds of excuses for Mrs. Professional. But realistically, you and I both know that is BS. I'll tell you what it is. See, Mrs. Professional, being a younger woman, and I'm not saying she out there getting her cheeks clapped from all sides of the town. I'm not saying that, but I would potentially say that Mrs. Professional knows that, you know what? If I move in with this guy, this older brother, and I ain't gonna be able to do what I want to do. I ain't gonna be able to have my little social media dudes on the side. Because although Mrs. Professional would say, I ain't into it all like that. I ain't paying them niggas no attention. Blase squaze, really and truly, right? Mrs. Professional always in the back of her mind know that she needs to have a parachute. She needs to have a fire extinguisher. Now, yeah, she's a little bit younger, in her late 40s, mid 40s, right? And I know, and let me tell you, Miss Professional, I forgot to put in there that she a little baddie for her age. Oh yeah, absolutely. Giving some of these young chicks a run for their money, right? But here's the thing. What Mrs. Professional don't understand is there's going to come a point in time that she's going to come to the realization that the dudes that she's garnering their attention, especially if they're younger dudes, because there seems to be an epidemic where, these older sisters now are gravitating to these younger dudes. And like I said, you can always find yourself getting beat down by a professional pookie, right? But they'll never admit to that. So I think Mrs. Professional basically want to have them Jones on the side as a just in case, as a backup plan, as a security blanket, as a fire extinguisher. Just a little something. I'm gonna tuck a little something away just in case wintertime comes, right? So at the end of it, ladies, there's gonna come a time that Mrs. Professional is going to realize that when it's all said and done, them young dudes ain't gonna do nothing but clap them cheeks, blow them old bikes out. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't trying to offend nobody, but when you start getting in your 30s, 40s, man, your bike is old. That bike don't bend like it used to bend when you was 19, ladies, 20 years old, ladies, 22 years old, ladies. It don't bend like that. Your shit might have a little bit of arthritis in it. So what's going to happen is once Miss Professional come to that realization that these little side Jones, these little young Jones, they ain't trying to just clap them cheeks and pass it, move it along. She going to always, in the back of her mind, think, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to try to hit up the older brother. But here's the thing about the older brother, right? See, the older brother got resources, right? The older brother got the ability to create and manifest something from nothing. So basically what that means is, all BS aside, and not trying to sound all, professional on this thing, is that now, little mama, you had your opportunity, and now that motherfucking boat doesn't sail. I'm sorry, YouTube, I didn't mean to use no profanity, I apologize. But little mama, that boat doesn't sail. So all I got for you is potentially, depending on if them cheeks was popping or not, if them cheeks was popping, you might can get some, you already know, you might can get, you ladies know what you could probably get. Some hard D and potentially even some bubble gum. And there are some days that, them older brothers be fresh out of bubble gum. So the cautionary tale is this, as I bring this video to an end. Ladies, listen. Don't waste your time out here. You young ladies, I know y'all think that, hey, I'm always be 20, I'm always be 22, I'm always have my little shape. But here's the thing, you might always have that little nice little figure, but as you rack up them bodies and that body count go up, it's just something about that it's just a bitter pill for a masculine professional man to swallow, knowing that his lady done got ran through. And at some point, you got to come out them streets. At some point, you got to realize that men of value, they ain't just falling out the atmosphere. It ain't raining men, especially men of value. So, as the old folks used to say back in the day, lightning potentially don't always strike twice. Let me tell you something. You got a better chance of winning the lotto twice if you think that older brother gonna take you back. Now, let me just go ahead and just put it like this. That older brother could be a decent dude, right? That older brother could he might not be, we can translate this to something else, right? It ain't no older brother. It's just a good dude. Just a good dude. And for whatever reason, he ain't good enough. Whatever reason, he ain't good enough. See, you got men out here who can pay all the bills, and that still ain't good enough. You got men out there who can provide 100%, but that ain't good enough. Why? Because the fact of the matter is, ladies, some of y'all, and not all y'all, but some of y'all, the most of y'all, just don't want to come out them streets. And unfortunately, the time gonna come, the body count gonna come. You're gonna have to come to the realization that you probably should have protected your womb. A cautionary tale, as I said, the old man could be a younger dude that's got his life together. Maybe he ain't making them six figures yet. But I'm telling you right now, women nowadays, men who make in the six figures and beyond, certain women think their value equates to dealing with those type of men. And they thirst trap on Instagram. I know I'm ranting. I said I was going to close this video out, and I went off on another topic. But I'm bringing it to an end. So basically, thirst trapping, on the ground, on all the little social medias, out there ladies, you're doing yourself an injustice. Whoever this applies to, whoever this video touches, you have got to take accountability and stop it. Because potentially, all them bodies, the ghosts of all them bodies are still running around inside of you. Believe it or not, let me tell you something. That is a man is expelling energy inside of you. And that type of energy never truly goes away. Can you imagine body after body after body after body after body? That equates to a piece of energy after another piece of energy after another piece of energy. Listen, eventually, that may drive somebody crazy having to contend with all that. But ladies, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant, but cautionary tale. If you got yourself a good dude, older, younger, what have you, and nowadays time that can provide and protect, you might want to get on his game plan. Well, YouTube family, that's it for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoy you all. Till next time, peace.